Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is Tosif, and I'm starting a new live stream to talk about Trump, our president, Donald J. Trump, and the California Democrats. So that's going to be um, the topic of today's discussion, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of our friends tune in. Um, it is quite late. I understand that. Very close to midnight here in the Central Time Zone. And in the Eastern Time Zone, it's almost 1 a.m. So quite late for our Eastern Time Zone friends. But I hope many of our friends will still be able to tune in. Okay. I mean, it's Thursday night. We're heading into Friday. So I hope people are looking forward to the weekend. My friends, if you are tuning in, please say hello in the live chat. Derek is here. Hello, Derek. Helena is here. Hello, Helena. Frank is here. Hello, Frank. My friends, make sure as you are tuning in that you hit the like button. Okay, I would really appreciate that. I appreciate your support. Consider that to be a symbol of support. Okay, when you hit the like button, when you share this video, and for those who are new here, please subscribe. Okay. So Derek is here, Helena is here, Frank is here, and I'm going to uh, go ahead with the conversation. And as more friends tune in, I'll try to say hello to them. Okay. All right, my friends. Um, Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom. Can we talk about Gavin Newsom, California Governor Gavin Newsom? Are we going to talk about him? I think we are. I think we will talk about him. By the way, there is a question in the live chat. As you can see, I'm conducting a poll, and the poll question is, do you think that California Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat, for those who don't know, I'm sure everyone knows that Gavin Newsom is a Democrat, but I still wanted to make sure that I put that within brackets so that those who don't know, they know now, okay? So the question is, do you think that California Governor Gavin Newsom will run for president in 2028? Uh, is he going to run for president? Is he going to run? Do you think he has the desire to do so? Do you think he's ambitious? I think he's ambitious. I mean, he has a long list of failures as an elected official, but I think that's not going to stop him from running for president in 2028. So I think he's going to run, but keeping that aside, I'll let the viewers respond to that question. But what I'm going to talk about now is um, Gavin Newsom had a news conference just a few hours ago. Okay, I'm sure some of you have seen it, or you've heard about it, or you've read about it. Gavin Newsom had a news conference, and he was expressing joy that a judge ordered that the control of the California National Guard should be returned to Gavin Newsom. So Gavin Newsom was so happy about it, okay? Um, because what that order was is, I mean, it was an order against President Trump's decision to federalize the California National Guard. So Newsom had a news conference. He was very happy, and I watched most of the news conference, and not the full news conference, but most of it. And he was clearly happy. He was satisfied. He felt. I mean, I could see from his facial expression that he felt like he won. Okay, he won against President Trump. That's how he felt, and you could see that in his face. Okay, Evelyn is here. Evelyn, how are you doing? Our friend Evelyn from Las Vegas is here. Evelyn, so good to see you. Thank you for being here, Evelyn. Evelyn is such a great supporter. Thank you, Evelyn. Thanks for being here. So as I was saying, if you watched Gavin Newsom's news conference right after that judge's order came, okay. So the judge ordered, and this is a United States district judge, okay. The judge ordered that the control of the California National Guard should be returned to Gavin Newsom. So it was a decision against President Trump and in favor of Gavin Newsom. U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer issued this decision. It's a decision that was in favor of Gavin Newsom. So Newsom was very happy. By the way, Dana is here. Dana, so good to see you. Dana, we missed you. I haven't seen Dana in a while. Dana, so good to see that our friend Dana is here. Everyone say hi to Dana, please. Our friend Dana is from Oregon, and so wonderful that Dana could join us today. Dana, wonderful to see you here. Thank you so much. My friends, if you are tuning in, make sure you subscribe and please join this community. Introduce yourself. If you're here for the first time, just wave. Just say, hey, this is so and so. This is my name. I'm from this state, this city. Joining the community, and we will recognize you, and we'll welcome you to our community. By the way, Dana is writing that her mom had been in the hospital a lot. Dana, we're going to keep your mother in our prayers, okay? We will. Everyone who's listening, whether you're participating in the live chat or not, if you're listening, whether live or whether in replay afterwards, please make sure that you are keeping Dana's mother in your prayers, okay? All right? Believe in the power of prayers. Keep Dana's mother in your prayers, okay? Dana, we will keep your mother, we will keep you and your family in our prayers. All right? Okay, Dana? And please keep us posted. Just share some updates, all right? And Dana's got my email address, so Dana can email me. I know that. By the way, some of my friends may feel that I have not responded to some of your emails. I apologize sincerely. It's been so busy. Life's been so busy that I have a list of emails that I have not responded to, text messages and emails, because I was busy working. So when I'm busy with work, when I'm busy with other projects that I've got going on, I don't get to respond to my personal text messages and emails, right away. So if you have sent me an email to my email address, which is tosif@tosifnam.net, or if you have, for those who know my phone number, if you've texted me and I haven't responded, I apologize. I will, but trust me, I really appreciate all my friends out there. Okay, so I may not, maybe I didn't respond to you right away, but my friends are always in my mind and in my thoughts, and I deeply care about each and every one of you. Freshly is here. That's Jake. Jake, so good to see you. Our friend Jake from New York just tuned in. Thank you for being here, Jake. Did I miss anyone? I don't think so. All right. If I missed anyone, I apologize. Yeah, please keep Dana's mother in your prayers, okay? All right. Thank you. Thank you so very much. So as I was saying, U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer issued the decision in favor of Gavin Newsom. And so Gavin Newsom was very happy He showed up happy, like a celebrity. Um, Happy like a celebrity. And he talked to media. I was watching that news conference, and Gavin Newsom. I don't know if it's because he represents uh, a state that has Hollywood. Okay, maybe it's because of that. And he shows up like a celebrity. Okay, that's really how he presents himself. Um, and you really have to observe him um, very attentively, and you have to um, you have to see his style, you have to see his body language and his facial expression and the tone of his voice, and obviously the contents, what he says. um, he presents himself as a celebrity. He does. Okay, and maybe because he represents California, where Hollywood is. um, Now I will tell you, Gavin Newsom, I mean, he's a smart guy. Okay, I mean, he has a pleasant appearance when you see him on TV. He's got a pleasant appearance. He speaks well, but when you look at his record as an elected official, he's a complete failure. Okay, I mean, this man is not in the movies. If he was a TV star, if he was a like a movie star, that would have been one thing. But he's a governor. He's an elected official. Okay. His job is to get things done. And that is something that he has failed to do. Okay. Um, so he shows up like a celebrity. Okay. And he's trying to get attention. And I think President Trump said it very correctly, that Gavin likes attention. Okay. So the more he's on camera, the more he is in front of the public, and he's making his statements. He's got his talking points. I think he enjoys that. He enjoys the attention. Um, but I don't know if he fails to understand this, or maybe he understands it, but he completely disregards it. He's got a job. He's got a job to do. Okay. And being the governor of a state, it's not easy. Being the governor of any state, it's not easy. Okay. I mean, that position brings with itself lots of responsibilities. And if you are the governor of a massive state like California, with, I don't know, what's the population? Is it 40 million? Let me check. Hold on. I'm going to check. Population of California. All right. So, yeah, approximately 40 million. I'm just looking at the estimate. It's like 39.4 million. So 40 million people. 40 million people. The governor of California is representing a massive population. You've got a very, very important job to do, Gavin Newsom. And Gavin Newsom has failed. Is there any disagreement when I say that? I mean, do you agree that Gavin Newsom has failed as a governor? Just let me know. Just say toss if I agree with you. Toss if I agree with you. Do, okay, let me ask you this. Gavin Newsom has failed as a governor. Do you agree? Dana says I agree, 100%. Anyone else? Evelyn says agreed. By the way, both Dana and Evelyn are from the western part of the country. Okay, not in California. Dana is in Oregon, and Evelyn is in Nevada. So they are both in the western part of the country, close to California. Anyone from California? Do we have Anyone from California here? I know our friend Didi is from California. I think Didi mentioned that. Um, yeah, Didi lives where? South of Los Angeles, somewhere, right? 50 miles south of Los Angeles or something. I think that's what Didi mentioned. But anyway, if Didi is listening, Didi is from California. Anyone from California here? I know we got friends from California. In fact, our friend Swaggy Colin is from California, but I haven't seen Swaggy in a while. So I don't know. Maybe Swaggy is listening and is just silently listening instead of participating, or Swaggy, or maybe Swaggy is not here. I don't know. Frank is from Florida, so the other side of the country. Um, by the way, Florida has a great governor, right? Um, Ron DeSantis. Okay, anyone from California, just let me know if you're from California. But Gavin Newsom has failed. He has failed. Okay. I mean, he could have been a truly great governor. He could have been a real rock star governor. He could have been, because, I mean, this guy is smart. In front of the camera, he's smart. He speaks well. He's just, he's got a, if he would have been a good governor, he would have been a truly, truly successful political figure. Okay. But this guy is, I mean, he's got the agenda. He's embraced the left wing agenda and really did not accomplish anything for California. Okay. And so, he's approaching the end of his second term in office, and there's a term limit for California governors. So he's approaching the end of his second term in office, and he really does not have any major accomplishment that he can share, that he can come in front of the camera and say, these are the things I did. These are the things I accomplished as the governor of California. Really nothing that he can say, oh, that's what I'm proud of. So, he's approaching the end of his second term as the California governor with really no significant accomplishment. And now I think his biggest priority is to go against Trump, is to go against our president Donald Trump. And that's how Gavin Newsom is trying to elevate his profile. That is what he is trying to do. I mean, understand this. This man, Gavin Newsom, he may run for president in 2028. Okay. Now, if somebody is a very, very successful governor, or a very, very successful senator, or a very, very successful, House member, congressman, they can run for president and highlight their accomplishments. But in the case of Gavin Newsom, I mean, he could have achieved a lot. He could have achieved a lot. I mean, go back and you think about, keeping politics aside, think about Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan from California, I mean, became the president, one of the greatest presidents ever. So anyone who is the governor of California really has a tremendous opportunity. Okay, I mean, 50 states, different sizes, but California is so massive that California gets a lot of attention. So anyone who is fortunate enough to become the governor of California can get all the attention in the world. And if, as the governor of California, that person accomplishes great things, then that's a real easy pathway to the presidency. Okay? And I'm just keeping politics aside. I'm talking about real public service, okay? But you know what Gavin Newsom did? Gavin Newsom, he's all about politics and not public service. He's all about politics, which is why, you know, his time as the governor is coming to an end very soon, when his current term expires, because there's term limits, so he can't run again for governor. And he likely has the ambition to run for president, but really he has no accomplishment to share with the people. Okay? I mean, yes, he won in California because California is a blue state and he's a Democrat. But if he's running for president and he's trying to gain support from voters all over the country, I mean, people in red states, people in purple states, even like states where they're not red, it's purple. It's like a swing state, battleground. Gavin Newsom can't win because his list of failures is so long. So anyway, he had this news conference, which most of it I watched. He was happy. He came in front of camera. He was happy. He's like, "Oh, the court ruled in favor of Gavin Newsom against President Trump," and he was saying like Friday by noon, the control of the National Guard will have to be handed back to the governor. Like that's the deadline, Friday noon. And Gavin Newsom was so happy. And then guess what? Something else happened. A federal appeals court panel lifted the U.S. district judge's order. So the pendulum swings. That's what happened. All right, the pendulum swinging. It swung, and it was in Gavin Newsom's favor. He thought, "Oh, that's it. He's the winner." But then the pendulum swings back. And a federal appeals court panel lifted the U.S. district judge's order, and Trump became victorious again. Again. Okay? By the way, I see lots of friends tuning in. My friends, please make sure you like this video. There are more than 90 people watching right now. Please hit the like button, support this channel, share this video, my friends. So one thing is true. I think we all understand that the courts are playing, the judicial system in America, the courts are playing a bigger role than ever before. The courts are playing a bigger role than ever before. Decisions made in the Oval Office end up in court, not always, but a lot. And the courts rule. And depending on who the judge is, the decision may be a fair one or it may be an unfair one. Okay? And we have seen, and this is quite unfortunate, okay, that we have seen certain judges rule based on their political bias. This is very, very sad. Very, very sad, okay? The courts must be fair and impartial. I mean, we are all human beings. We all have our political preferences, okay? We all have our favorite politicians. We all have our political beliefs. We all have our political ideology. And, judges are also human beings. So they may have their political bias. They may favor one political party over another in their personal life, in their thoughts. But you know what? When you sit in the courtroom, okay, and you present yourself as a judge, as a federal judge, the politics has to be kept completely away from the courtroom, okay, for the judge. The judge has to be fair. The judge has to be impartial. A judge must follow the Constitution, abide by the Constitution, be faithful to the Constitution, rule of law, okay? Personal bias, political ideology has no place in a courtroom, okay? So the courtroom is all about making sure that the decisions are just so that justice can prevail. But we have seen, and this is very, very sad. This is very, very unfortunate. We have seen judges acting and ruling and giving decisions based on their personal political ideology. Very, very unfortunate. But you know what? Do not be do not be disheartened. Okay, I mean, have faith that justice will prevail. Okay, remember always that when you see those examples of judges being unfair, remember that there are many judges who are faithful to the Constitution, many judges who are fair, who are impartial, judges who take their responsibilities very, very seriously. So you may see some judges who are not great, but do not think that that's everything. There are all those other judges who are fair and who are doing their jobs in the best possible way. Okay. So look at the bright side. And so what I'll tell you is that the courts are playing, as I said, the courts are playing a bigger role than ever before. And executive decisions are often challenged. President Trump signs an executive order, President Trump makes a decision, and then some group out there, or some attorney general of some state out there, or maybe Democrat attorney generals, they get together collectively, they challenge the decision, they file a lawsuit. And if there's a liberal judge somewhere, the liberal judge may rule against President Trump's decision, which is unfortunate. I mean, if there are merits, if there are strong arguments, that's one thing. But judges should not judges should not make decisions based on their personal and political bias. Okay, but unfortunately, it does happen. So anyway, I have faith in the judicial system. I do. Okay. I mean, I can give you examples of unfair stuff that have happened. Okay. I mean, one example would be um, the, the the trial in New York. Okay. President Trump, he was put on trial in New York. Okay. And that was just a theater. Okay. It was just orchestrated. That trial was a sham trial. Okay. And we've talked about it many, many times. There was a sham trial. President Trump is a completely innocent man, but that jury, that political jury, okay, that whole trial was just garbage. Okay. So that's an example of how the judicial system can be used for political purposes. That should never happen. But you know what? Like I said before, I have faith that in the end, justice will prevail. Okay. I mean, you may see the forces of evil, but the forces of truth, the forces of justice are way stronger. So in the end, justice will prevail. So don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. Okay. Have faith. There may be certain barriers, there may be certain obstacles, but in the end, justice will prevail. And you know what? You look at what just happened. One judge ordered that the California National Guard, the control of the National Guard, will have to be returned to Gavin Newsom. But then that decision was lifted by a federal appeals court. So once again, Gavin Newsom, he was happy. He did that news conference, but I bet he is not happy anymore. He's not happy anymore. So, my friends, in the end, justice prevails, I think. I try to be optimistic, no matter how many negative things we see and hear and we experience. Have to be optimistic. Okay, we need optimism. We cannot lose optimism. And so, my friends, think about everything that the Democrats did to use the court system to block President Trump's decisions. Okay, and to actually block President Trump from becoming president again. Okay. But Donald Trump is now in the White House as the U.S. president, and so he won. And now the Democrats are trying to block President Trump's actions through court orders. But in the end, President Trump will win as long as he continues fulfilling the promises he made to the American people. As long as he continues to fulfill the promises he made to the American people, President Trump will continue to win. That is my strong belief. Do you agree with me? My friends, please let me know. I've been talking a lot, but I'm going to pause for a little bit. I want to hear from you. Let me know if you agree with me, my friends. I appreciate your participation in the live chat. Evelyn says agreed. Thank you so very much. Evelyn, so good to see you. Lots of people here today. I can't even read all the comments. There's so many comments pouring in. All right. Okay, my friends. Lots of comments. Please make sure, as you are tuning in, make sure you hit the like button. Hit the like button, my friends. Hit the like button. Share this video. Share a link to this video on Facebook, on Truth Social, on X. Okay. All right. Lots of people. Thank you, my friends. All right. So President Trump promised to restore law and order because we saw lawlessness when Joe Biden was in office. And President Trump promised to restore law and order. And through the deployment of the National Guard, that is exactly what he tried to do. He deployed National Guard to Los Angeles. It was a great decision. I agreed with that decision. So, you know, if you want to hear some crazy stuff, if you want to hear some crazy stuff, you know what you have to do? Any idea? Derek, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the compliment, Derek. I appreciate that. I wish I could respond to more comments. I see a lot of comments coming in. Dana says exactly, Derek. Thank you so much, Dana. Thank you so much, Dana. My friends, if you want to hear some crazy stuff, you'll just have to tune in and listen to the statements made by the Democrat Mayor, Karen Bass, and the Democrat Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, during news conferences that they do. Okay. Frank, thank you so much, Frank. Frank is here. Dee is here. Hello, Dee. Dee says, hello, friends. What did I miss? Dee, you know what you missed? I was mentioning your name just a few minutes ago. If you scroll back, you can probably hear that again. Because because I was asking who's here from California, who's here from California, and I said, I know our friend Didi is from California, and I mentioned that you're from, I think you mentioned south of Los Angeles, right? Like 50 miles south of Los Angeles. Is that what you mentioned, Didi? So, uh, I was thinking about you. I mentioned you. You just have to scroll back, towards the beginning of this live stream, and then um, you can hear that. So thank you for being here. Thank you so very much. Um, all right. Didi is from Orange County. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. So as I was saying, if you want to hear some crazy stuff, you'll just have to tune in and listen to what Karen Bass says during her news conference and what Gavin Newsom says during his news conference. And, you know, let me ask you this. Why can't they admit that they lost control of Los Angeles? Why can't they admit? Have you ever heard the saying, honesty is the best policy? Got to be honest in life, no matter what situation you are in, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what the challenges are, no matter what the hurdles are, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, honesty is the best policy. You got to be honest. You have to be honest. And if Karen Bass would embrace honesty, she would come in front of the cameras and admit that her government, local government, lost control of Los Angeles. Okay? It was necessary. It was absolutely necessary for President Trump to take timely action to deploy the National Guard, to federalize the National Guard, deploy the National Guard, because Karen Bass, mayor, and her city officials and, local law enforcement it was an overwhelming situation for local law enforcement, for LAPD to deal with. And Mayor Karen Bass, she should admit that they lost control of Los Angeles. And it is because of President Trump's actions that, that that Los Angeles, is now there's hope in Los Angeles. Things could have been worse. So things were getting worse, and the local government was failing. And if President Trump would not have intervened, things would get a lot more worse. You hear um, Karen Bass saying, "Oh, this is happening in a small area. This is happening in a small area. It's just a few blocks. It's a small area, so on and so forth." But you know what? If President Trump would not have intervened, the violence, the rioting would spread to other parts of Los Angeles and beyond. Things would have been, terrible. Okay, things are terrible, as we have seen. A lot of property has been destroyed. Cars have been, fires have been set. Cars have burned. A lot of people, innocent civilians living in Los Angeles, they have faced tremendous inconvenience. So bad things have happened in Los Angeles, but worse things could have happened. But it's because of President Trump that things are now heading in the right direction. That there's hope for defeating the rioters and the looters and people who commit vandalism, and there's hope for restoring law and order. Do you agree with me, what I just said, my friends? Do you agree with me? Let me know. Just say agree if you do. If you don't, just let me know that as well. That's fine. You can disagree. Dana agrees with me. Yeah, Dana agrees with me. There's another viewer, S, says, sure do MAGA. Thank you so very much. Johnny says, agree. Ellie is here. Ellie says, it's L, right? It's not Ellie. It's L. L. Okay. I think I recall. You said L. L says yes. Um, okay. All right. Mm, let's see. Uh, Evelyn says agreed. Thank you so very much. Freshly says absolutely, wholeheartedly agree. Thank you so much. L says yes. All right. Okay. I pronounced it correctly. It's L. So, yes, terrible things have happened in Los Angeles, but things could be far worse. Far worse. But thankfully, President Trump intervened. He federalized National Guard soldiers, National Guard, and he deployed National Guard, and he mobilized the Marines. And it's because of the federal support and President Trump's decision making that there's hope of restoring law and order in Los Angeles. Okay. And it has sent a message that President Trump is going to take is going to do whatever it takes to restore law and order. Okay. So Karen Bass, if she wants to be honest, she should admit that they lost control of Los Angeles, and President Trump is helping restore law and order. And there are still challenges ahead. The work is not done yet. The work is not over. No one said it's over. Okay. There's still a lot of work left to do, but there's hope. There's hope. People are now hopeful that things are going to be heading in the right direction, and things are going to be, the problems are going to be solved, and law and order will be restored. So the Democrats, they call President Trump a dictator. That's what they have been doing. They call President Trump a dictator. They say he's a tyrant. False. False. President Trump has been elected by the people of this country. He's an elected official. He's not a dictator. He's not a tyrant. He's an elected official. He's a U.S. president. And he got the Electoral College votes. He got the popular votes. And President Trump is in office because of the overwhelming support that he received in November 2024 from the American people. Brad is here. Hi, Brad. Good to see you. All right, my friends. If you are new here, please make sure that you are subscribing. Okay, very, very important that you subscribe. Okay, subscribe and stay connected. All right. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Please subscribe. All right, I would so very much appreciate that. Hit the subscribe buttons. Be a part of this community. All right, those who are new, those who are here for the first time, be a part of this community of freedom-loving people. So no matter where you're from, if you believe in freedom, if you believe in peace, if you believe in freedom of speech, please subscribe to this channel and stay connected. All right. So, as I was saying, the Democrats call President Trump a dictator, but he's not a dictator. He is an elected official. He is the highest public official in the world. Okay? Greatest leader in the world, the most powerful leader in the world. But you know who the real dictator was? The real dictator was whoever was running the Biden White House. Whoever was running the Biden White House, the Joe Biden White House, whoever was in charge of the Biden White House, whoever was in charge of the decision making of the Biden administration, that person was the real dictator. or that group of people were dictators collectively. Okay. Now, there are questions about whether Joe Biden uh, was fully active in making a lot of the decisions, or whether he was fully aware of the decisions that was being made by his administration. I mean, with the whole auto pen thing, there are so many questions. So many questions given that auto pen issue. Kristen's here. Kristen, good to see you from New York. Kristen, thank you for being here. Um, so, that's why I say whoever was in charge of the Biden White House, whoever was in charge of the Biden Oval Office, could have been one person, could have been multiple people, maybe taking turns and making decisions, or maybe collectively making decisions. That whole auto pen thing, there are so many questions. We don't have all the answers, so we don't know what exactly happened. We don't know what went wrong. We don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but we do know that there have been and there continue to be questions about Biden's cognitive state. Okay, because of all the gaffes, because of certain things he did. Sometimes he would get confused regarding how to exit the stage, where the stairs are, and so on and so forth. So Joe Biden, he clearly displayed signs of mental decline, cognitive decline. And so there are lots of questions about who was making decisions. Okay. Um, and so I don't know what was going on. Hopefully, we'll find out soon. I hope the Republicans look into it. I hope that the American people will demand answers to a lot of these questions, because obviously they want to know what was going on in the Biden White House. Who was in charge of making decisions? Who were involved in making decisions? Was Joe Biden aware of the decisions that were being made? Did Joe Biden um, did he know about the whole auto pen thing, and what documents were being signed? And there's so many questions. We don't know the answers yet, but the American people actually demand answers. They want to know what was going on, who was making decisions. So anyway, whoever was making decisions, or the people who were involved in making decisions in the Biden White House, I think they are the real dictators. Remember the Democrats pushing for vaccine mandates? Remember the Democrats pushing for vaccine mandates? I oppose mask mandate. I oppose vaccine mandate, okay? I mean, it's about medical freedom. No one should be compelled, no one should be forced to take a vaccine, okay? No one should be forced. If you want to take the vaccine, go take the vaccine, whatever vaccine you want to take. Go take the vaccine if you want to. If that's a decision you're making actively, if that's a decision you're making, you know, uh, you know, after getting all the information that you need to make that decision, if you are making an informed choice, great. Go get the vaccine. Go get the boosters, the COVID vaccine, the COVID boosters, the flu shot, whatever you want to get. If it's your decision, you want to make that decision, that's fine. But no one should be compelled, no one should be forced to take the vaccine. There should not be any mandate. But you know what? We saw the Democrats pushing for vaccine mandates. Isn't that a sign of dictatorship? If a politician or a group of politicians, they're coming and saying, hey, you got to take the vaccine, no exemption, you have to take it, or you lose your job, that's a sign of dictatorship. Okay, dictating people, not giving them the option to choose, but dictating, hey, you got to take the vaccine. So, my friends, that's dictatorship. So when Democrats call President Trump a dictator, That's complete hypocrisy, because the Democrats are the ones who believe in mandates, who believe in forcing people to take a vaccine, even if they don't want to take the vaccine. So, anyway, coming back to California, I think the Democrats have failed. They have completely failed to take care of California in every way. California, blue state. You look at local government, you're going to see Democrats like Karen Bass at the local level. You look at the state level, you're going to see Democrats like Gavin Newsom. And then they have their allies, Democrat allies, left wing allies. And um, and so Democrats have failed to take care of California in every way. And the California economy is not good. Okay. Yeah, some people will say, oh, it's a large economy and so on and so forth. The California economy is not in a good shape, which is why so many people are leaving California. Why are people leaving California? Why are people going to like Texas? Okay. Why are people moving to other states? A lot of red states that people are moving to. Why are people making that decision? Why are so many people exiting California when the weather is so nice in California? Okay. There are beautiful beaches. Okay. In California, there's Hollywood. Why would people leave California? Why? Because you know what? If you pay attention, it's really hard to live in California and to raise a family and to save money for the future and to have public safety. Public safety. That's a huge challenge. And so that's why a lot of people are leaving California and going to other states. And Texas is gaining people. Texas is gaining people. So people are moving away from a blue state and into a red state and other states. Um, the California economy is not good. Okay. The California housing sector is not great. Now, somebody may look at all those TV shows where they display the mansions in California where all the celebrities live. You know, the $1 million mansions, multi-million dollar mansions, $5 million, $10 million. There are properties that are on sale for, you know, like 20, 30, $40 million. Okay. So if you look at all those properties and all those estates and mansions and so on and so forth, and you say, oh, California is doing awesome. California is great. You know what? You look at celebrity life, that does not represent the life of an average person in California. The average hardworking person, okay, trying to raise a family, okay, trying to save money for retirement. You know, don't look at the celebrity lifestyle and think, oh, that's how everyone is in California. Okay, no, people are struggling. People are struggling, even if they make a lot of money. Even if somebody makes, I don't know, just pick a number. Just pick a number, all right? Like, I don't know. I mean, people making $200,000 a year in California may struggle. You know why? I mean, $200,000 is a lot of money. And I'm just coming up with a number. You know, you can say $150,000. Let's say you make $150,000. Okay, that's decent money. That's great money, actually. I mean, in some states, it would be really awesome income. Okay, I mean, you hit six figures. It's like, wow, it's great. But you know what? In California, let's say in San Francisco, you make $120,000, $130,000, $150,000. It may not be enough. It may not be enough. It may not be enough. Didi, share with us your thoughts. Didi is in Orange County. Didi, tell us, um, if somebody makes $200,000 in California, okay, in Orange County, how comfortable is life going to be? Let's say you have a spouse and two kids, all right? So a man who makes $200,000 in Orange County has a wife and two kids, okay? How comfortable is life going to be? Just, I want to hear. If you make $200,000 in Wisconsin, okay, materially, you will have great life. Great life. You can have a luxury vehicle. You can have a nice house. You'll have money for recreation, entertainment. But in California, in Orange County, or in LA County, or in San Francisco, if you make $150,000, $200,000, is it enough? I mean, you look at some of the rent. You look at rent. I mean, listen, you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to me. You go and look at some rent. Okay, look at a 2-bedroom apartment rent in San Francisco. Okay. DD is writing. What is DD writing? DD is writing a 3. Is that 3-bed, 2-bath? Is that what you're saying? Or rent is okay. So 2-bedroom rental, you said 3 or 2-bedroom rental, going for $4,000 to $6,500 rent per month. Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. A 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom rental, $4,000 to $6,500 in Orange County. Is that what you're saying? It's crazy. Crazy. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, when people look at celebrities and all the vehicles they drive and their mansions and their luxury life, there are all these reality shows on TV, and people watch those shows and people think, oh, California, it must be heaven. You know what? California is a beautiful state. No doubt about that. Okay. California has certain features, geographic features, that make it truly a heaven on earth. But the politics in California has ruined California's potential. Okay. California could be the best place on earth with the right leaders in office in government. But because of woke policies, because of left-wing policies, California is a mess right now. The economy is a mess. Life is very hard for the average person. Okay. Life is very, very hard. Okay. And even when you look at some of these mansions, there are news stories about squatters taking over mansions. It's crazy. I mean, you can have a mansion somewhere in California, and a squatter could come in and kind of take over your property. It's that bad. Yes, if you don't believe me, just research some news articles. Squatting is a huge issue in California. Okay? I mean, if property rights are not protected, how can anyone thrive in that state? And anyone who has experience or has heard about these issues in California, you can share in the live chat. Tommy Brown is here. Hello, Tommy Brown. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you, Tommy Brown. And Edwin is here. Hello, Edwin. Thanks for being here. All right. So, yeah, some people here don't like me. They don't like the truth that I'm presenting. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. I'm quite familiar with this. There are people out there who are allergic to the truth. Okay. They don't like the truth. They don't like hearing facts. It's like an allergy. But you know what? Um, I'm telling you the truth. You can go fact check me. As I often say, go fact check me. All right. And things that I don't know, that I'm not sure about, I'll ask you, or I'll say I don't know. And you can also provide your input. Like Didi shared some information about California, rental pricing and all that. Anyway, um, California is a mess. And once again, I'll say this. Why are people leaving California? Why are so many people leaving California? Because there are lots of problems in that state. And it's all because of the Democrat politicians and their policies. So, cost of living is very high. There are so many homeless people in California. Okay. I mean, you see both ends. On one hand, you have super expensive mansions, super expensive real estate in California. And then on the other hand, there are people who don't have a roof over their heads. They're sleeping on the streets. They're homeless in California. And it is such a big problem in California. So that state is in a lot of problem. Lot of problem. So cost of living is very high in California, but you know what? The quality of life is low. What we want is quality of life. You don't have to live close to Hollywood. Here in the Midwest, let me tell you, here in the Midwest, okay, if you go to the countryside, life is very simple. People live close to nature. You go to the countryside, you're on a farm, okay? Simple people, simple life. But you know what? The quality of life is excellent. You're not going to see the luxury vehicles. You're not going to see the mansions. You're going to see simple houses. You're going to see cornfields. You might see some gravel roads, okay? But you know what? People are happy. People are happy. The quality of life is great. You wake up in the morning, you breathe in the fresh air. You get fresh milk, you get fresh food, fresh produce. The farmer's market is great. And, you're not going to see the super expensive brand name vehicles. You're not going to see, all the fancy stuff, all the luxury, all the, all the jewelry, all the, fancy clothing. But you are going to find peace. You're going to find excellent quality of life. Okay. Which you're not going to find in many expensive places in California. Okay. You're going to find mansions and luxury. You may not find peace of mind. You're not going to find high quality of life. Okay. And that's the truth. And I know many folks are going to disagree with me just because, they don't like my viewpoints, or they don't like my political ideology, because, people know I'm a Republican. I'm a solid conservative Republican. So folks in the live chat, not everyone's going to agree with me. But that's all right. That's all right. Um, See, Dana is saying it's very peaceful in Southern Oregon. Yeah. Yeah. No, I believe you, Dana. I believe you. I'm sure it's very peaceful. It's very peaceful. 61 is saying you speak truth. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So in California, there's a lot of crime, especially when you go to these Democrat-run cities like Los Angeles, um, like San Francisco. By the way, I see our friend AC Cruz is here. AC, so good to see you. That's our friend AC Cruz from Arizona. So wonderful to see you, AC. My friends, please make sure that you are liking this video, share this video, subscribe if you have not done so already. I have to remind everyone, because you know what? We're trying to grow the size of this community. We're trying to reach more people. We are, 13,000 plus subscribers. We're going to take it up to 15,000 and then 20,000, hopefully 50,000, hopefully 100,000. And the reason why we want to do that is because we want to spread our message. We want more people, more and more people to be included in this community. Different viewpoints are fine. You don't have to agree with me on everything, but we encourage dialogue. We encourage sharing of knowledge, sharing of information. We encourage debate as long as you make sure that you're respecting each other, okay? We got to respect each other. That's very, very important. So please make sure you're subscribing if you haven't done so already. Please subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family members, tell your neighbors to check out this channel and to subscribe. So let me continue because I have more to talk about. There's widespread crime in California, especially in Democrat-run cities. Government regulations in California, it's crazy. There's a lot of government red tape, and the more government red tape there is, the more challenging things become for the average Americans. And emergency response in California, not good, especially in LA, not good. Okay, and you can draw that conclusion from the massive California fires, that took place a few months ago. Now, the emergency responders are great. The emergency responders are wonderful people. The police, the firefighters, the paramedics, they are great people. Okay? People who go into those professions, they want to be firefighter, they want to be policemen. It's not a job. It's a job, but it's not just a job. It requires great commitment. Great commitment. It requires a sense of public service. So the emergency responders are wonderful people. They are brave people. They want to help the community, but the politicians, the liberal politicians in California, make it very difficult for the emergency responders to do their jobs. And so we have seen, it was not that long ago during the California fires, that the fire hydrants didn't have water. So what is a firefighter supposed to do if the firefighter goes and, the firefighter wants to battle the fire, but there's no water? There's no water in the fire hydrant. So the emergency responders are wonderful people. They are wonderful people, but the politicians, the Democrats in California, and their policies, their woke policies, their left-wing policies, make it very difficult for the emergency responders to do their jobs. Okay. So when President Trump saw when President Trump saw the situation in Los Angeles getting real heated, and he saw that, hey, if he doesn't do anything, then Los Angeles may be on fire because of the riots, because of all the unrest. And so President Trump had to take action. He took action. And that's why Democrats like Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom are not happy. They're not happy. They're not happy that President Trump took action. President Trump did exactly what the people wanted, what the people expects from elected officials. That's exactly what President Trump did. He took action. He deployed the National Guard. He mobilized the Marines. But the Democrats, like Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom, they're not happy. Now, the president has the authority to federalize the National Guard, and President Trump exercised his authority to do the right thing. And Gavin Newsom, Governor Gavin Newsom, he thought that he could go to court and that he could get an order to stop President Trump's action. That's what Gavin Newsom thought. And for a very short while, it seemed that perhaps Gavin Newsom has succeeded, but then the federal appeals court blocked the U.S. district judge's decision. Okay. So Newsom has lost, and President Trump has won. Okay. Justice prevails. President Trump has won. Gavin Newsom's victory was short-lived. He got that court order in his favor. But it did not last long. The appeals court panel lifted the U.S. district judge's order. Okay? So Gavin Newsom, he was having that press conference and he was like, yeah, he was victorious. But you know what? That was short. It didn't last long. And President Trump is now victorious. President Trump is now victorious. My friends, let me do this. Share with me if you support Trump, and we do this exercise quite a bit. If you support Trump, write I support Trump. If you support Gavin Newsom, write that you support Gavin Newsom. All right, let's do that. Let's see who supports Trump and who supports Newsom. Can we do that? Let's see. Let's see. Matt says, I support Trump. Power says, MAGA. Evelyn says, what's your comment, Evelyn? Let me see. L says, support DJT. Evelyn says, ultra, mega, MAGA. Awesome. Let's see who else is here. We're going to see some more comments. Edwin says, I support Mr. Trump. Okay. There's someone who's saying neither. Okay. Evelyn says Trump all the way. Didi is saying Trump. Dana is saying Trump. Michelle supports Newsom. Okay. I don't know why. Michelle, why do you support Newsom? That's okay. I mean, if you support Newsom, if you support left-wing policies, then Newsom's your choice. All right. GMA is saying President Trump. Give me 1 second, my friends. Whenever I look at the live chat window, I have to pause a little bit. All right. All right. So we're getting mixed reviews here, I think, but most people support President Trump. Okay. Between Governor Gavin Newsom and President Donald Trump, most people support President Donald Trump. Okay. So thank you. Great. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. So I agree, obviously, that President Trump took the right action, right decision at the right time. So Karen Bass. Let's talk about Karen Bass. Karen Bass, she's a politician. And she will always be a politician. Okay. What she is not is a public servant. Elected officials must be committed to public service. Elected officials must be excellent public servants. Okay. Karen Bass, when you when you pay attention to her actions, when you study her actions, not what she's saying. I mean, some of the things she says are also like absolute nonsense. But when you study her actions, you'll understand that she doesn't have a commitment to public service. She's all about politics. She's all about politics. Elected officials should be public servants. But Karen Bass is a politician who is very, very busy with her political agenda. Okay? Rather than doing what is best for the people of Los Angeles, Karen Bass is busy about politics. Okay? Busy about politics. But anyway, the good news is President Trump is winning. Even that lawsuit, that court case that Gavin Newsom came up with could not stop President Trump. The appeals court decision is in President Trump's favor. And most importantly, public opinion. Public opinion favors President Trump. The people of this country have a very favorable view of Donald Trump and a very favorable view of President Trump's actions and decisions regarding the Los Angeles riots. And so the American people stand with President Trump. And when it's Trump versus California Democrats, the California Democrats lose. The California Democrats have lost. Public opinion is with President Donald J. Trump. All right. Let's see. Give me 1 second, my friends. Bill is here. Bill, so good to see you. Bill is from Vegas. Wonderful to see you, Vegas. Wonderful to see you, Bill from Vegas. All right, my friends. All right, so we got Evelyn from Vegas. We got Bill from Vegas. Vegas is always well represented during these live streams. Okay. All right. Okay, my friends. You know, I really want to find out who's here for the first time. Jim says Pennsylvania here. Wonderful, Pennsylvania. Hey, listen, I like Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania voted for Donald Trump, battleground state. Pennsylvania voted for Mr. McCormick, who's now the new U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania has one thing that is pending that you got to do, all right? All right, so Pennsylvania, if you're listening to me, Jim just said Pennsylvania. That's why I'm kind of talking about Pennsylvania a little bit. Pennsylvania has something that Pennsylvania has to do the next time Fetterman is on the ballot. You know what you got to do? You got to defeat John Fetterman. Okay. If John Fetterman decides to run for re-election, if he's on the ballot, please don't vote for John Fetterman. Do not. Okay? Do not vote for John Fetterman. All right? Now, I know in some cases, Fetterman is trying to be this moderate Democrat. He's trying to be like the person in the middle. He's trying to take the middle ground. He's trying to be he's trying to appeal to the conservative voters too. Okay, but you know what? I think it's just a political strategy. That's all it is. That's all it is. I think it's just a political strategy. You know what? In my opinion, Fetterman is a Democrat, and I think he is. Officially, he is. But all those instances where you see Fetterman sort of, you know, criticizing the Democrats a little bit, and it seems like he's kind of in the center, maybe on some issues a little bit right of center. I don't have faith in that. I don't. I really don't. Okay. And all you have to do is look at how John Fetterman voted in in um, in some of those hotly debated, intensely debated, cabinet nominations. All right, President Trump picked the individuals he wanted in his cabinet, and they had to go through the hearings and the votes and all that. And John Fetterman, no matter how much he sounds like he's moderate, he's in the middle, he's not so much on the left, action speaks louder than words. And if you study his actions, you're going to see that he is very much on the left. Very much on the left. So you know what? I know there are some folks out there who seem almost convinced that Fetterman is, in some ways on our side. Fetterman is not as far left of a politician. He's in the middle. He's sort of conservative in some aspects. He is not. Okay? I mean, if you believe in certain things that Fetterman says, when he pretends to be sort of conservative-ish, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. In my eyes, John Fetterman is very much on the left, but Fetterman also recognizes that Pennsylvania cannot be taken for granted by the Democrats. Okay. So that's why he's sort of trying to navigate his way through Washington politics, trying to sort of be, you know, sort of lean on one side and then the other. But as far as I can tell, John Fetterman is very much on the left. Okay. Whatever he says, it's not going to convince me. Yeah, I do know. I mean, I know a lot of people. I have many conservative friends, and some of those conservative friends seem to be like, they seem to be open to Fetterman, and they think, oh, Fetterman's, he's reasonable. No, I am not convinced as of now, given the facts that are in front of me. Okay. So, in my eyes, John Fetterman is on the left, and that's it. By the way, do you agree with me? Do you agree with my assessment of John Fetterman? Okay. How did we start talking about John Fetterman today? Because Jim mentioned Pennsylvania, and that's how I started. So yeah, if Fetterman is thinking about his political future, if he's thinking, oh, Pennsylvania cannot be taken for granted, it's not an easy, easy pathway for a Democrat to get elected in a statewide race in Pennsylvania. That's why he's sort of trying to reach out to both sides. He's holding on to his Democrat, label, and then he's sort of trying to connect with the Republicans too. I think it's all because of politics. Do you agree with me, my friends? Let me know. Do you agree with me, or you don't? If you don't, that's fine. Um, let's see. Do you agree with me? Dana says 200%. All right, great. Evelyn agrees with me. Thank you, Evelyn. Um, Michael Brown. Oh, this is hold on. Mm, is this Michael Brown from Australia? Is it the same Michael Brown? Michael Brown? I Because I think the color of the icon is a little different. That's why I'm a little confused. Oh, this is Michael Brown from Texas. All right, this is a different Michael Brown. We have a friend um, of this channel, Michael Brown. That's Michael Brown from Australia, but I think you are from Texas, as you indicated. All right. Yeah, that's what I thought, because the color of the icon is a little different. That's what prompted me to ask that question. If you're from Australia, because our friend, the Australian Michael Brown, is a wonderful friend of our community. I don't know if Michael Brown, our friend from Australia, Michael Brown, is watching this, maybe listening to this, or maybe we'll watch the replay. I don't know. Um, okay. Ricardo is here. Hello, Ricardo. By the way, Ricardo doesn't agree with me a whole lot, but I appreciate Ricardo being here. Um, okay. All right. AC Cruz says, hit the like, please. Yes, please do so. Hit the like button. I see certain individuals repeating the same comment over and over again. It's probably just a copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. You know what? At some point, I may be compelled to block individuals who write the same comment over and over again. I mean, yeah, you write it once and you think that I haven't read it. You want to draw my attention again. You write it again. Uh, and then if I still don't respond, you wait for a little bit, you write it again. I mean, that's fine. But if you're writing the same comment like 10 times, 20 times, it is unacceptable. Okay? I'm just trying to be very lenient. I'm trying to not block anyone. Okay? I don't like blocking people, trust me. But I mean, if you're just writing the same comment over and over again, I may have no other option but to block that individual. So what can I say? What can I say? All right. So all right. Ricardo says, hello, Tosif. Hello, Ricardo. So what's interesting is some of the leftists, some of the left-wing activists, you can tell who they are. I'm not going to mention any names, but they're over here in the live chat and using whatever language they can possibly find to try to insult me, to try to oppose me, to try to oppose my viewpoints rather than having a decent dialogue in a civil manner. They're trying to insult me and engage in name calling and all that. But those individuals, and you know who you are. Okay, I'm not mentioning names, but you know who you are. You probably don't know my experience in politics. You got no idea about my experience in politics. And I am not intimidated by any of the harsh comments, all right? And it's not going to stop me from doing these live streams, okay? I mean, I mean, my friends here know how many people would come, and this was before the election, November 2024 election. How many people would tune in for these live streams and just insult me over and over again? Insult, name calling, And yeah, some of the disruptive individuals I had to block because they were flooding the live chat window with like nonsense, and I had to block them because they were just copying and pasting like comments this big. Same old comment, opposing my viewpoints over and over again, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. So I had to block them for that reason. But in terms of those comments actually pushing me away from doing live streams, no, they failed. Many individuals challenged me. They said, "Oh, what are you going to do when Trump loses? Oh, your channel's going to shut down," so on and so forth. And a lot of people reported my channel, false reports. I'm telling the truth. Why would anyone report it? They did. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. And that's why I say I am so optimistic, because I believe that the power of justice, the power of the good, will always prevail. Those who are on the right path, they will always win. No matter how challenging things get, no matter how many barriers there may be, how many difficulties there may be, people who are honest, people who are on the right path, people who are truthful, people who, you know, um, who are here for the right reasons, who are doing the right thing, they will always win. That's how nature works. Um, so I have not stopped live streaming. On days that I don't do live streams, you can assume that I'm very busy. Like yesterday, I was very busy, so couldn't do a live stream. But, you know, um, these conversations energize me. I feel great when I can do a live stream, when I can talk to my friends, when I can connect with them and we can exchange viewpoints. Um, so I will continue to do these. And all the harsh comments that are coming in, all the insults and everything won't stop me. Okay. I will continue to do live streams. God willing. Obviously, God decides everything. If God wants me to continue doing these live streams, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it for my friends. I'm going to do it uh, because I have a strong desire always to share the truth, to share the truth, okay, and to talk about social and political issues, both domestic and international. And obviously, God is the decision maker. So if God gives me the strength to continue to do these live streams, okay, I will continue to do these live streams. So, my friends, thank you so very much for tuning in. Um, it was great having this conversation. We talked about California, obviously Trump versus California Democrats. Who's winning? Trump is winning. It's very obvious. It's very clear. Trump is winning. Trump's going to win. The people are with Trump. And I think he's doing the right thing for Los Angeles. Okay. Um, Restore law and order and support the law enforcement agencies, support the men and women in uniform. And yeah, my friends, we got to be optimistic. We have to be optimistic. And I think support for President Trump is growing every day. The Democrats don't want to admit it, but it's the reality. The Democrats understand it, they recognize it, but they don't want to admit it, but it's the reality. Support for President Trump continues to rise each and every day. With that, my friends, thank you so very much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. And to those who spent a lot of time today insulting me, you know what? I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray so that God gives you wisdom. I'm going to pray so that God gives you patience. I'm going to pray so that God gives you a more friendly attitude. Okay. All those people who insulted me today, I'm going to pray for you. I really will. I really will. We are all human beings of flesh and blood, created by the same God, and we must be able to have a decent conversation, no matter how much of disagreement we have. Okay, we should be we should be able to have a decent conversation. So all those people who came here insulting me, name calling, saying all kinds of nasty stuff, you know what? I forgive you. I really do. I forgive you, and I'm going to pray for you. And hopefully, maybe next time or maybe in the near future, you can come back again and engage in a productive conversation without insults, without name calling. So I'm going to pray for you. All right. So thank you so very much for tuning in. Um, I appreciate you all. Flag Day is coming. So let's be happy. Flag Day is going to be great. And the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be truly wonderful. 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army and Flag Day. There's going to be a massive parade. It'll be awesome, I think. And let's be optimistic about the future of our country. And really, I feel great. And we have to look at the bright side. So, my friends, thank you so very much. May God bless you all. May God bless President Donald J. Trump. May God bless the Trump administration. May God bless our Republican senators. May God bless our Republican congressmen, House members. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless our U.S. allies. And may God bless freedom-loving people all over the world. Thank you so very much, my friends. I appreciate you all. And please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like this video. And please stay tuned for the next live stream or for the next podcast episode. Thank you, my friends. Have a wonderful night. And I'm going to be back again very, very soon. May God bless you all. Thank you, my friends. Have a wonderful night.